Hello, I am back with, you guessed it, a speed build in The Sims 4. Oh wow. Haha. um, it's good to be back. I have not recorded any sort of Sims build video in a hot minute. I actually did record something about a month ago, and then I didn't like it, so I just didn't go through with it. I'm also sorry if my voice gives out at any point. I am currently getting over a pretty nasty cold. As in I built this on Friday actually. It's currently Thursday. I built this last Friday because what's her face? Charly Pancakes came out with a CC pack, all themed around like coast, not coast. It's called the Lighthouse, and it will definitely be linked below and on my website and stuff. But it's all themed around like coastal aesthetics, both ones that she's experienced growing up in Germany and ones that Miss Simrino, who's another summer who I'm not super familiar with, but I know of her work, experience living in New England, and I'm from New England as well. So I thought, ooh, I'm gonna build something aggressively New Englandy because I want to. And I was like, it comes out for public release this Friday, and I really want to like do a thing with it. And I had all these plans. I was so excited. And then Friday at 3 a.m., I woke up with a sore throat so bad. The pain from the sore throat woke me up. It was amazing. I hated it. So I built this on Friday, which I intended to do. Maybe it was Saturday. I built this over the weekend, and I was too sick to breathe out of my nose. It was really bad. I won't go into detail. Just know that I was suffering, and I built this in The Sims, and that's really what I did during my sick day. Which, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, productive sick day. Anyway, more about this build. This is a little something I like to call seaside cabin. It's it's a little it says cabin by the seaside. That's it. It's not very complex or anything. It just kind of built it. I very heavily featured the Lighthouse CC pack. I think it's beautiful and I think it works really, really well for the style that I was going for. It's definitely something I'm going to use more going forward. Because again, I really loved how it turned out, and I think it's all really great and well made. It's a one bedroom, one bathroom. You're not going to see that bathroom for a while. Let's just say, I thought this house was bigger than it was, and I thought to put in a bathroom, but that's not important. You can see here I'm picking out the wallpapers. This with the white wood paneling was made by Charly Pancakes. It's really, really nice. I like it. Even as someone who prefers slightly darker wood tones in my interiors, I do have a sweet spot for a little bit of white wood trim. And I'm really glad that I got to use that because you may have seen earlier that I was thinking of going for something with a darker trim from Pierre Sim, and again, I just ended up going with this, as you can obviously see. I started out with the kitchen, and something that I don't usually do, but I made a conscious effort to do for this build was I tried to work on this piece by piece instead of jumping around wherever inspiration struck me. So I just start with this kitchen, and I ended up going for cabinetry entirely in this light blue color, a mix of country kitchen and cottage living, because I really like the look of like the cottage living lowers, and I prefer those over the country kitchen ones. But I really like the country kitchen uppers, and so I went with those. And I also used the refrigerator and stove from country kitchen. And the sink I used was a piece of custom content. I'm forgetting who it's by, but obviously I will provide the information when I put this up for download, which again is on our website that I have. Ooh, fun. But yeah, I went for the light blue kitchen. I thought light blue looked really nice, and you can see here I was picking out the cabinetry to use. Um, I feel like this is probably the most detailed part of the house because this was like the very first thing I built, and I was really, really feeling excited and stuff. This was before the sick brain kind of took over me. Because I'll admit I was kind of woozy for most of this, but whatever. I also did this while I was doing my laundry, so like I really got as much done as I could that day. Um, but yes, I don't really have much to talk about the kitchen specifically. I do put in like a few details I might mention, but I don't think I'm really gonna say much about it. I've been doing well aside from being super, super sick. I kind of disappeared when I started college. If you heard a door slam, that's because I'm in a college dorm and people are a little loud sometimes. But no, I've enjoyed beginning my semester. I like my classes, I think. Um, I have an exam in one of them on Tuesday, and I barely know what the class is about. That's not my fault. That's because the professor has a very interesting teaching style where he just kind of spits words at us, and we're like, okay, I guess. and I'm not okay. I don't guess. But whatever. That's it's still a fun class. I enjoy the content of it. I think my classes are pretty good this semester. One of them is requiring me to watch a play tomorrow, Anne of Green Gables. I know nothing about Anna. I know, okay, I've read the Wikipedia page, and that's as much as I know. I did not grow up with Anna Green Gables, unlike apparently some people, such as my professor. Okay, my professor, he was like, I grew up with Anna Green Gables. How come none of you know what it is? And I was like, sir, I wasn't born last century. I didn't say that, but I was thinking, I'm from a very different generation than him, so like obviously I'm not gonna know everything he grew up with, but whatever, he's cool. But one thing that it does remind me of is I was helping build the set as part of that class. It's a stagecraft class, and so we're learning about like techniques and putting together shows, as well as how to employ those techniques through a lab, which is we just go into the scene shop and this guy's like, hey, can you build some chairs or can you build a platform? And we just build stuff. And what we've been building lately has been the set for Anne of Green Gables. And the set for that honestly gives me like huge country kitchen kit vibes. I love it. There's like a little, whatchamacallit, a cloth in front of the sink, and there's a bunch of little canisters and jars. It's such a great set. I really am in love with the set that they ended up building, and I really like how it turned out, and I'm proud of the work I've done on it. Yeah. I made this kitchen kind of cluttered. Like you can see there, I kind of completely covered that countertop and just stuff. But for the most part, I do try and keep a few spaces like kind of clear because as as much as I like the look of a decently cluttered kitchen, I also completely realize that it's super impractical not only for gameplay but in real life. You would want space in your kitchen. Like it looks nice and lived in and stuff, but having a super cluttered kitchen is also super stressful, I will say. But regardless, I like how this turned out, and I just like the look of everything. Um, I can't think of anything else to talk about. Oh yeah, yeah, I can't think of anything else to talk about. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for getting your hopes up there. Um, yeah. Oh yeah. Naming this house is really difficult. You may or may not have realized by now, but I'm really bad at naming stuff, particularly houses. And if I can't come up with a name for a house, then I usually just kind of leave it off in like my personal save and try not to publish it or anything because like I like having names for things. I don't like having these generic names for my houses. Like even seaside cabin is a bit much in terms of like not super descriptive. But you know what? That's fine. I just gotta live with it sometimes. Anyway, the kitchen is more or less done. I placed that rug down. That's about it. And this was also when I realized, oh, there's no stairs off the back porch, so I added some over there. Oh no, this is when I realized I don't have a bathroom. So I added a bathroom. It's very small, very low key. It's the 2 by 3 bathroom. I ended up making it yellow as best I could. And I also I have a light in there originally just to see while I'm decorating. I just take that out because I'm thinking like there's enough light. It's a bathroom. It's not like you're gonna try and be like reading in there. So like you should be fine. And there's a window. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. And also this bathroom, it's spaced kind of weirdly. You're going to see that come together, but it is completely functional. I've had a sim go through this house and make sure everything has space to work and there's like space to make food on the counters and the trash can is accessible and whatnot and the bed is accessible. So you can play in this house. This house is fine to play in. I'm interested in how like playing in it would be because I typically don't do extensive gameplay in the houses that I build like this that are super like made up, not made up, but like super detailed, focused builds. Because usually, whenever I play the game, I'll kind of like build up the funds to make a house as I play, and sometimes I'll decorate that nicely. Sometimes I'll just kind of let it be a little shack and just be very utilitarian. But this one, I think, would be kind of fun to play in. I've tried not to have a bunch of really tall items obstructing your view. I tried not to have it be super big, so it would be like impossible to route with. And I think I succeeded in that for the most part. So if you end up playing with this, tell me what you think of it. Tell me if I succeeded. Yeah. Anyway, I ended up putting not a lot of seating because I also imagined this was definitely a home for someone who likes their alone time and doesn't invite people in a bunch. I put like I only put 4 chairs at the dining table. I feel like even that's a bit excessive, but it's more a matter of like on the off chance you have someone over, having those chairs available, and also just you can just put stuff on chairs. You don't need to use chairs to eat at, but whatever. And that's also why I had this very small living room. I didn't want to like crowd that up with a bunch of, you know, useless furniture that no one's going to be sitting on because it's a one bedroom, one bathroom little cabin on like a 20 by 20 lot, I think. But that was kind of also where I was thinking when I was thinking of who lives in this place. And I was imagining it's someone who, I'm imagining the house itself was an older house, maybe from like early 1900s, even 1800s, just based on like the kitchen and the size and whatnot, and just like the look of it being very worn out looking with the pillars and the shingles I used. So based on that, I was thinking it was an older house, but the person who lives here isn't necessarily the first resident. Maybe this was someone who is like a little, like a bit of an older adult, but not like super old, and also not like super young, like fresh out of school, just getting their feet wet in the world, kind of young. So this is someone who maybe they've owned a home before, maybe they've owned several homes before, they've rented before, and maybe there was like some change in their life where they decided I want to get away from like big, busy, crowded places and just go fishing every day. And I respect the hell out of that. And so they got this house, which is why there's like certain items that I feel like are a bit more modern, like particularly the couches and the chair, or the couch and the chair. Those look a bit newer to me. Whereas a lot of stuff, like I'm thinking like the little bunny bookends and just a lot of the furniture and a lot of things in the kitchen, I'm imagining were purchased with the house as opposed to being bought on their own. So this isn't necessarily someone who's super into like historical design and architecture, um, but more so someone who just liked the house for what it is and what it represents to them, and they just so happened to get a good deal on some stuff coming with the house. Yeah, and that's also I'm gonna end up putting some paintings behind that little armchair that are just like some generic paintings. They're from Dine Out. It's just some random scenes of Italy and the Naples kind of area, with no people in them. I was imagining those either came with the house or they were just something that they bought, without like super without being like super sentimentally attached to it. It was just more so like a thing. And also that little lighthouse statue. So the lighthouse pack came with just the lighthouse isolated, not as a light, but as like a single statue or like decoration. And I think it's really cute. But I have like this inexplicable love for that little lighthouse lamp. And I just was like, I can't not put it in here. So I put it in. And then that's also the little picture wall I just mentioned. And like I put in a plant, I put in stuff like that. I didn't want this to be a super planty house either, because confession, I'm kind of scared of having house plants. So I used to work in a garden center, and I was pretty good. I don't believe any plants died under my supervision. I watered them. I was good at watering plants. I was good at handling plants. That does not remotely apply to my personal life and my personal care of plants. I kill plants so easily. It's kind of ridiculous. Especially considering not only did I used to work in a garden center, I currently work taking care of lab animals, which is like, I feel like those are like the two jobs where like you really want to make sure someone's good with taking care of little things that aren't like, like a cat that's going to constantly be yelling at you like feed me all the time. Which again, I feel like that's why I'm super comfortable with like having cats and feeding cats and whatnot, is because cats remind you when they're hungry and they're not going to let you forget. But plants aren't, and the little mice, they won't tell you when they're hungry. You just have to be able to look and check if their food's getting low. But I'm fine with those. It's just something about plants. I just am really bad at taking care of them. And also, another detail I wanted to mention, I put little smoke detectors above the doors. I imagine those are carbon monoxide alarms. It's like a weird bit of realism I've always added in stuff I build, especially recently for some reason. But I really like the way it looks, and I just like having it there because it's definitely something that's been like a super constant everywhere I've lived. Obviously, has had some sort of smoke detector or carbon monoxide alarm. Like just looking up at my ceiling right now in my room, there's a smoke detector, which I don't know if it's carbon monoxide. I don't want to find out, but that's like a little thing up there. And another thing I wanted to mention is we're coming to it. It's like it's not a big thing, but it's like a nice little detail I put in. On that little dresser, I end up putting a bowl and a pitcher. And you may be wondering, why is there just a random bowl and a pitcher in a bedroom? Well, a while ago, I made a build, and I showed it off to my mom, and she was like, "Oh, this is so nice." And she said like the one thing it needed was to have like a little bowl and a pitcher, so like you could wash your face without having plumbing. And I was like, "Oh, that's such a cool little detail." And so I ended up putting that there. That's it. That's all I had to say. I'm like weirdly proud of that because it's like a cool little like not time sensitive, but like an old thing. And I imagine those little jars are like I don't know. I have no idea. I'm imagining like the spare room at my grandfather's house is like got some little jars on the dresser. There's nothing in the jars. They're just stuff. Just jars. That's it. He's just got jars in that room. He doesn't go in that room. It's a spare bedroom. He lives alone. Yeah, anyway, finally to the outside of the house. It's not very impressive. There's not a lot of outside. It's just grass, honestly. Grass and trees. Which I mean, if you're gonna live by the beach, you probably aren't gonna spend all your time at your house. You're probably gonna go to the beach. I wouldn't know. I don't go to the beach. Um, I do live really close to the water. I don't like water, so I don't go to the beach, but whatever. But yeah, this is the lot where Bedlington Boathouse is, which is one of the pre-made houses that I'm gonna be honest, I kind of want to renovate it. I think it's really ugly as it is, but like I can fix him. No, but it has a little bit of sand leading down to the beach, and the beach in this world is quite a nice beach, I will say. Like if I liked beaches, I'm sure I'd have a great time there. But yeah, I just put some grasses around to kind of sell the whole this house has been here for a while thing because like it's a little bit overgrown. Like whoever was here, maybe it was like some person who lived here until they passed away, and in their old age they kind of stopped taking care of the grass, or they just never cared about the grass being long to begin with. And I tried to also match the grasses and the low lying kind of shrubbery, not sure, the undergrowth, I guess, kind of match the undergrowth in with what was present in the world around, because I imagine they're right next to each other. There's no reason why it would be a totally different plant. And then I also like putting rocks in my yards. I don't know why. Something about the rocks really just gets me. I just thought they looked nice. I thought they were kind of cool. I assume they're super unrealistic to have just random rocks just sitting around. Like, how did they get there? And why did you build a house there? But that's the bit of realism I don't add when I'm playing The Sims. Speaking of adding things, I just remembered that when I was building this originally, I forgot a mailbox. I forgot a mailbox and I forgot an outdoor trash bin. I add those in before I take the screenshots because as I was like grabbing a sim to put onto the lot to take the screenshots, like as the loading screen came up, I was like, oh no, the trash cans. So I end up adding those in just a moment. And now here I'm just putting on a couple of finishing touches onto the build, just some outdoor lighting. I end up putting some fishing supplies on that wall and a little bench underneath it. I imagine this would be really lovely if like you made a cup of tea or something and you just come out here and you drink tea while looking at the ocean. Even as someone who hates water, I do love tea and I do love looking at things while I drink tea. It is all I do when I drink tea. Though usually the thing I'm looking at is my computer screen or something like that. But like this is really beautiful and I do like how it turned out. And I want to thank you all for watching this because I put a lot of work into this and I think it's really cool. Anyway, bye.